Here we go. Okay, good morning and welcome to the Joy CEO podcast. I am so happy to share with you my friend, the marvelous Jenifer Namestka. She is the founder of AVO Solutions, and we've been chatting here as we get ready to hit record, and we could just chat for days. So we are just going to jump right in, and I am going to let Jenifer tell you a little bit about herself. Good morning.
Good morning.
So
Jenifer
happy to
Namestka.
see you.
It's
Yeah.
so good to see you. So I'm out in California, a little far away from Connecticut. Started a company, AVO Solutions, back in 2012 after being 2011 after being laid off from a corporation, and I've been knee deep in this adventure ever since. And my background's in education, so you'll hear me talk a lot about teaching, but I didn't enjoy working in a classroom, so I went to go work with the grown-ups. A lot of the same principles, but I work with grown-ups.
Isn't it amazing how when one bowl of lemons can just turn into a whole bunch of lemonade, Like
Seriously,
we're just not sure what to do with it, but then we pivot and really we just rise from it. All right, so
completely.
why don't you tell us a little bit about Avo Solutions, what you do, and just kind of a little bit about your vision for your company?
Oh, I'd love to. So what do we do? Best way to describe it is we stand in the gap. We focus a lot on change management seems to be our um, kind of our sweet spot. We do change management, and it's very heavily driven around metrics and dashboards and being able to show executives where the change is occurring. What we have found is when you talk about change management, that is a due diligence approach that you put to make a successful project. Okay, well, that's due diligence. So that doesn't really speak to the end game of what we're trying to do. But we manage change management from a standpoint where we can do a dashboard so that we're able to track how successful we are and very objectively give some data points around, we have 20% adoption, we have 30% adoption in different areas so we can isolate and really show the traction. So it speaks well to executives. It speaks well to project alignment, um, where the I will just say this. We are the sliver that runs or the mortar between the bricks. So we help support existing project teams, whether they're systems integrators or other consulting firms. We kind of come in and do this nice wrapper around it. So through our analysis, our due diligence around change management, and then our reporting seems to be a really nice solution. It seems to work really well. And so that's where we sit. That's our sweet spot.
Amazing. And what was it that indicated to you that this was going to be your sweet spot? Like, how did you know this?
Oh my gosh, how did I know this? It was not an aha moment. I would say I am the kind of person that things just slowly evolve into. I am a hard-headed woman, so it takes me a long time to figure things out. I'll go back to that teaching background. So I tend to work really well with other people who are also teachers. There's something you learn around when you go to school to become a teacher. You have to really learn to self-assess. And you kind of go through this self-assessment process. You're also used to being handed stuff where you're not the subject matter expert, but you still have to figure out what you can control within that and how you can teach it and all the variables. When I worked in when in the corporate world, before I was laid off, I was reporting up to the board of directors, and there was a tool that they were struggling with their go-to-market. And so, I hey, let's volunteer. I tend to be that person that's like, let me just stay with it until I can solve it. Again, I think that's a lot of that teacher in me. And so that brought me into the board, which then brought me into solving this go-to-market problem. And in that, I found, oh, I created this model. This model works. And when I was laid off, I took it with me. They didn't want it. I took it with me and I started using it. And I've been using it for the past 12 years. I've been successful with it. The clients are happy. I'm happy. Let's keep doing it until it doesn't work. And now we're branching off and we're doing more in that same vein, but we're figuring out like this is who we are. We show up, we do an assessment, we try to make this as again, we stay very objective, we human touch, very human conversations. And then the whole goal is to demystify it, to see the forest through the trees and to break everything down, and then we get people aligned. My background's also in measuring ROI around performance initiatives, so I'm certified to do that. And my experience has been when you get these things set up really well, nobody cares about ROI because they can see it. You don't have to prove it anymore because they can see it. We're all on the same page. And in business, it's so complicated nowadays. Everybody's got objectives, competing objectives. You move one
Yes.
thing one way, you've impacted this over here. So just being able to kind of give someone a lay of the land has been where our sweet spot continues to be, even as we go into new markets. That was my cat.
Hello, Kitty. And how refreshing for a client who can look at a dashboard and say, oh, I see it. There's the ROI. Like,
Oh,
I got it.
they get it. You know what also helps too is as you communicate going up the chain, and you know this from your experience, you've got to make a decision, right? And you've got to make a decision with a lot of different information, and you're not a SME, and you're looking at it from a high level. So if I can create a dashboard that takes the technical conversation out of it, so I can have it, the technical data fed in on my end of the dashboard with the team, but spit out at the executive level, aggregated storytelling, objective, right? Data,
Yeah.
money, time, all that good stuff. Then an executive's looking at something going, okay, I get it. I don't have to sit here and wonder why I'm not up on this industry trend and getting frustrated or taking, trying to make a decision quickly. I can continuously, consistently look at the same view, but with data as we mature through. So it kind of aligns those two very important pieces. Plus, I'll say one more thing. My experience has been we do the strategic alignment on projects at the beginning,
Yes.
right? So when we want to figure out, is this the right project? We do that at the onset, and then we never revisit it again.
And
And
then you
so what
stay
ends up,
consistent.
then
Yeah.
you've got now you're 2 degrees off. Now you're 3 degrees off,
Yeah.
right? And we lose that big pump, that big aha, or that big thing that we were going to accomplish, and it just gets watered
Yeah.
down.
So watered
Or
down.
oh, training
Or you
work, but
change the
nobody's
whole
doing it.
project altogether. Yeah. You're
Yeah.
not even
So
sure where you
so
started from.
so that's kind of been our thing. I love it. Like I love it. I think it helps. And because I'm not creating competition. We're the only one. I don't know anybody who's ever doing that, just wants to sit in the space, so I can partner with people.
And what I'm hearing from your story is that this all evolved, right? You didn't have it all figured out when you were 25 years old. This was like a path that
Yeah.
kept having twists and turns, and you kept uncovering through layers. Oh, I'm really good at this. Oh, this is natural for me. And with that natural flow, you came to this moment in time.
Definitely. Like 100% how it happened.
And
And I won't,
somehow you trusted that.
yes, because I was able to do it based on what worked last time. So again, looking at controlling the variables. Well, if I'm looking at if I'm going to take this approach and we're going to attack this approach, what do I know? What are the variables that I know? What can I control? Well, I can control everything but the subject matter the subject matter that we're focused on. Okay. So go out and figure out what that specific industry or that specific buyer is running up against. That's a very small piece of the whole story. People are people. I'm always moving people. So even when we did it from an international standpoint, which we've done internationally, there's still people. So when you're having these conversations and you're looking at, well, like we're moving into the AI market, everybody has to. We can't avoid it. We're moving into AI. And at first I was intimidated. And then I went, it's technology. We've done it around technology before. We've done it around environmental compliance. We've done it around safety. I am not an expert in those either, but I do understand data and moving people and where the risks are. So let's put the wrap around what we know, control what we know and go figure out the rest. And it keeps working. I mean, I'm waiting for it to not work because I'm realistic, but as long as it keeps working and everybody's happy, we pivot when we need to. And we get people the outcomes. We measure our success based on the clients. Can they read the tea leaves? Did we give them what they wanted? Did we give them the data and the storytelling? Do we need to pivot? So that's how
Yeah.
we look at it.
Yeah. And you were really intentional from the onset about who you were going to hire, how you were going to set up this company. And I think it's fascinating. Want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes. Okay, so my personality is I'm very socially conscious. I've been my entire life, so why wouldn't I want to continue this when I finally have a little bit of power, a little bit of flex? And so avo, the word avo comes from the Hebrew word chavoda, which means it's the root word for work, worship, and service. So that's our purview on how we engage. We are stewards, and we need to be stewards. And how do we provide that service? Um, so how do we hire? Um, there is a very sweet spot. There are a lot of women who have been working too many hours. Corporate America requires too many hours out of us. That 40-hour work week, you know, those are long gone. You get
50,
exempt,
60.
right? These exempt employees are getting burned out on both ends. They're not able to show up for their families. And so they've gotten accelerated degrees, and that's who I wanted to hire. And so that's who we've been targeting, making it attractive to women who have been burned out. So it's there's a lot of detoxing that goes on when people come in, like from a new hire standpoint, they really have to detox a little bit, and we kind of work that into the onboarding process. You're not expected to sit at your desk all day. Um, Very important that people realize you're not expected to be available all the time. But when you show up, I know when you show up and you're going to work for those 3 hours in a row or whatever set of time that you're showing up. And I know that because I know that temperament and I know how you got from here, where you came from. And I can, we have conversations. And so that's who we hire. Women, moms with master's degrees has kind of been our sweet spot. We've had guys, we've had some men over the years, and I enjoy them also. But the community that women build because we're remote and we know we're coming at this as we're moms and we work, it's so cool. It's so intoxicating. It really doesn't feel like work. And I think if you ask them, they would feel the same way. They're just like, you got to show up at both levels. You got to show up for yourself, but you got to like come in hardcore, do the work, log off.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that's the balance. So,
And you put a lot of thought into this. I know when somebody joins your company, they get a welcome package. And I was like,
oh, yeah.
oh, pick me. Can I get one of those welcome packages?
I never shared with you, but the first round, we had a round of people that were hired about 2 years ago, and in their welcome package were Joe Malone candles.
Oh, oh, did I inspire that?
You did. I have mine burning right now. Um, I love that smell. I have like a little collection now of their perfumes. I
Yeah.
love their customer service.
Yes.
So I was able to get these small travel perfumes and give everybody a perfume just light because you're in this room. You might as well create an energy that that you're enjoying. Like
A beautiful space. That
make
is
it smell
joy. How
pretty.
about joy for the win there? Yes.
For real.
Yes.
Yes, that is joy.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so
Amazing.
everybody gets a welcome package. Some of it has branding, but I think I shared with you my newest addition was the jelly cat, my little
Yes.
jelly cat guy.
Yes.
So I had sent this out to everybody because I had watched a little reel on social about how the jelly cats, they're expensive. But the reason they're expensive is because they pay reasonable wages. They use quality products. They're expensive for the right reasons. And
They
so it
stand
was
for something.
Yes, and so it was a reminder to my team that you are worth it. You are worth the money that you get paid. We are worth the products that we create, not to forget that. So we all keep them on our desks.
So good. So good. And so at every touch point, your company stands for something that goes back to your core values.
Yes. Beyond, yes, I want to make sure that, and part of that is hard to balance because um, it's not a nonprofit. This is a corporation,
Yeah.
and so from that standpoint, I have to be respectful of people need jobs. So I'm not trying to limit who I hire, but at the same time, I'm trying to create an environment where people want to come, and those are very strongly based on my core values. a while ago, back when I worked for corporate and I managed a team, one of the things I said to them early on is I want you to be here. Like I treat you like I treat my husband. You're here because you want to be here, not because there's something better out there. Like there could be something else that's better out there for you, but you choose to be here. And I want to create that environment where you choose to be here. I don't want to create something where people don't either feel welcomed or acknowledged or seen. Um, so that's baked into a lot of the ways we engage, and it's showing. It shows in our team meetings. It really does. Yeah, because when you have this mutual, well, just like with you and I, when you're able to have a meeting with somebody where you mutually respect them and you honor who they are when they come into a room, they don't have to prove themselves. So they can let their guard down and they can just chat and we can giggle. And if their kid comes into the room, suddenly they're not like, oh no, my kid came home. Well, I'm 3 hours, but most of my team is back east. So most of them, I'm getting into lunch and their kids are, of course, they're home.
Of course.
Of course they're
Of
home.
course.
Or it's pickup or it's something.
Yeah.
Okay, we roll with it. You want to be on the call? Cool. You don't want to be on the call? We'll either record it or block your calendar and we'll know that you're never around between 2 and 2:30 or 2:30 and 3 and that's your set time and we'll just adjust around it.
Yeah.
Um so yeah, it's cool. I am very proud of the fact that I get to set the temperature. Um, okay, so when I was in ministry, we had an expression that we would teach the kids. And the expression is every time you enter a room, you are either a thermostat or a thermometer. And a thermometer tells the temperature, and a thermostat sets the temperature. And it's your choice. But you have that opportunity every time you enter the room. It's not like I'm always a thermometer. You can be a thermostat anytime you want. And so it's very cool to be in a situation where I get to be the thermostat for my peers, not a thermostat for children, because it's a little easier to teach when you had a lesson learned 20 years prior, but to actually be in the moment and be like, okay, I'm going to be a thermostat to this with my peers is pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. I love
I
that.
love it. I
Um,
really, really love that I get to go to work.
yes.
So,
So we've talked a little bit that we have a relationship and that a little bit of context around that is you came to me a couple of years ago and I started coaching you.
uh-huh.
Yes. So share a little bit about how maybe there was a moment when you weren't feeling so joyful and what you did.
Just one moment.
One one moment.
So when you and I started meeting, so we were introduced to a mutual friend,
Yes.
and coming out of quarantine, so quarantine did a number on me.
Yeah,
And I think it affected everybody in different ways. So I want to
sure.
just, I'm not the only person out there.
Yeah.
Um, but stay in the house all day, okay. Wear a mask. Those things did not impact me. I was fine with that. I actually enjoyed kind of like a mini vacation, right? Forcing me not to have to go places, forcing me to stay home and be present was really great. But the after effect was really hard on me. And um, I had a hard time with community. I had a hard time with what happened to my network, the friends group that I had created, being on the other side and finding out we had completely different viewpoints, worldviews that I didn't know were there. And so I was struggling, and I was struggling on caring about anybody, anything was really, really hard. And so that's where you came in and was getting me to start finding the joy in little things and baking it back in. And I got to be honest, like, um, that is not my default setting. And that's kind of what I learned too.
Yeah.
Joy is not my default setting. I'm a natural worrier. I spend a lot of time in the future and a lot of time in the past, which is not healthy. Um, and so because it's not my default and I'm still learning how to do this, I'm giving myself permission to say, well, you have to be intentional. So like you have to be intentional with all these things that aren't natural to you. So that's one of those things. Like I have to be like I have the candle and I light a candle in my office. I have like I keep really nice lotions and oils on my desk. Like I do things that so that when I come into my office, I have this space that's like where all my special little things are. if that makes sense. So
That
I
does.
try to create that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we had a couple of really profound moments in your coaching, and one of them that really impacted me was around you taking some time off. Do you remember
I,
that?
okay, so I pulled back
Yeah.
and I did a reset.
Hmm.
Again, I'm going to keep saying this is not my default. So if this sounds like it was easy, I just want you to know it
It
is
was
not easy.
so hard.
And even now, like, so part of it is, so I will tell you this. I will come into the story and I will say, like, these are the rules that are around my organization, and this is how we function. We don't work long hours. And then when I say the we, I mean everyone but me,
Yes.
right?
Hmm.
And that is something that I'm to that point where I'm 51, so my body won't allow for that anymore.
Hmm.
My body won't allow for me to just double down. I have a small human that I live with. She won't allow for me to double
Mom,
down. I have a
mom,
husband.
mom.
Yes. So I have things outside of this very myopic view. And man, I needed a reset. And so I kind of just use that time to figure out again, how do I make things intentional? Here's one of my ahas. I don't like working out. I don't enjoy it, but I don't like how my body feels when I don't work out.
Right.
So, right, I will cancel on myself in a heartbeat.
Hmm.
Like I cancel on myself all the time, but I won't cancel on someone else. So the only way I can get my butt to the gym is if I have a trainer,
Yes.
if I have a one-on-one appointment. And I am super cheap. And even being super cheap, I cannot get myself to be like, well, you'd save money if you wouldn't cancel on yourself. And every time I do that, I cancel on myself. So
Hmm.
that doesn't work. So I'm that sabbatical, that time off was just really looking at not the person I was when I was younger and had a different life, but just taking a break to say like, okay, this is who you are, and what support systems do you need in order to make this stuff work? Like, what do you need? One of the good things that you taught me is I don't wrap Christmas presents anymore. If you remember that
I do
conversation.
remember that. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
so I used to do, we would host for Christmas, so people would do ship everything up ahead of time. And then at first it was like, oh, I don't mind. And I was happy to do it. And then it became a burden to do it.
Hmm.
And so one day you said, just hire some teenagers. And I don't have any teenagers in my life, but I do have some women that help me clean the house. And so I asked them, and they come on the weekend. And I'm like, here's the deal. You're getting paid by the hour. Do not rush.
Just rap.
You're just supposed to rap, have an easy rhythm. Here's some snacks. We're going to put some music on or TV on or whatever. You have the whole upstairs to yourself, but like, don't feel like you have to be fast because
Yes.
that whole hourly thing. So I'm like, this is what you do. And so I've been doing that for the past, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. And now I've got the team is always like, hey, do you need anything else around the house? They're always happy to help because it's cash, and I need the help and they're willing to help. And you know what? They're moms, so they get it.
Right.
Like they get it. And so yeah, so those are the little things. That's what the that time away again was very introspective of figuring out where do I need to put structure in because I need it. I need the structure. Oh my
Yes.
gosh, what did you tell me too? You're responsible for feeding yourself. I'm still mad about that one because you're responsible for feeding yourself. What? Well, I never learned.
Yeah.
I didn't get
Right.
married till I was 31, but you eat crap when you can,
Yes.
have egg noodles for dinner and that's fine, or a baked potato, but you can't
Mhm.
do that in your 30s or 40s. And yeah, that was a hard pill to swallow.
And expect to function. I had a hard time
Yeah.
with that one too. I had a diet of Diet Coke and pretzels for years until, I had to learn the hard way. Yes, exactly. So as she holds up a bag of pretzels. So I had to learn the hard way on that I actually needed protein and,
Yeah.
sustenance. Yes.
And yeah, and which means you have to plan ahead, which means you have to plan before you're hungry. Like
Yeah.
you can't wait for the trigger of I'm hungry. And that was something that being very cognizant of. I've minimized myself for so many years, figuring out what it means not to be minimized. And having that conversation as a 50-year-old woman is very like, oh man, really, I wish I'd done this in my 30s.
So let's talk about that. I've minimized myself for so many years. I
Yeah.
mean, I think anybody listening to this is going to be able to relate to that.
Yeah.
And and when we can do the opposite and say, I'm at least going to make myself matter a little bit today, and what might be, an action that could do that, whether it's preparing food in advance for the week or packing a lunch or getting a good night's sleep or, having some nice lotion at your desk or a candle to light, just some form of self-care
Yep.
goes so far.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how much, and even now, like for my daughter. So when I was in school, in college, I never took a nutrition class. I had one PE. I've never been good with PE. I have a bad hip. That long story, but my hip I had a displaced hip until I was in my 30s. Actually, didn't know what it was. They thought I had a bad rotation, and so being physical was never something that came easy for me because you just lopsided or whatever. Um, but had I learned those things younger and kind of baked them into my day to day, then I wouldn't be figuring out how to bake them in now when I've already filled it up with so many things, right? And so, I mean, when we started, you would notice I did my hair today and I put makeup on. I don't. We have a rule. We do internal meetings. We wear loungewear. There's no need to get dolled up. But now that I've got my face on, I'm like, well, this is a waste. Now I gotta go somewhere.
Yeah.
Maybe I should go
Yeah.
do something.
Yes.
And when it took me like 30 minutes, between all the things.
Yeah.
But those are that's that piece that I wish I had learned to bake in younger. I've just been working so hard, pushing a rock up a hill, um, for a very long time that, I just didn't know I needed it.
Well, when you love the work, you get focused on the work and you forget about the rest of it.
Completely.
And that was the cross section I met you at.
Yeah.
For you to take that month-long sabbatical, you would have thought that I had slapped you across the face when I said,
Oh,
Jen, I think you can take a month off. And you did not even think that that was any sort of a possibility.
no.
And so I had you journal on it. I had you think about it. And then lo and behold, a month off. And it was amazing. Time to connect with
Yeah.
your family, time to connect with your daughter. You went on a vacation. I
Yeah.
mean, really valuable time. And then, when we first met, you're really disconnected. You're feeling very isolated, looking for friendships and networks. And now, fast forward a couple of
Oh,
years, everything's changed.
oh, oh,
Let's talk about
yes.
that.
Okay. So, I'm not originally from the area that I live in.
Yes.
So I grew up in Southern California. I'm from Los Angeles, and I live in the Sacramento area. And when we moved up here, I was already working from home with a corporation, and no big deal. I could probably go to dinner with anybody in any state, right? Fly in because I know people, but not inside my community. And so trying to meet people within Sacramento became very difficult. Um, and it was, I'd meet people because my daughter, because we're in school, and so our kids are the same age. But I wasn't getting, and so I'd get my mom heart like nurtured, but I wasn't getting my corporate side nurtured. And then you add the layer of, well, I own a business, I'm not an employee, and trying to find people who have the same things that keep them awake at night. Cash flow is a two-letter dirty word. These are things that if you talk to somebody who doesn't deal with those and you talk numbers, because that's the reality, now you look like a jerk, and trying to find a peer group and sometimes I'd find men that were in that same bucket, but it's not the same. I couldn't build a deep relationship. It just didn't feel natural or organic. And so I just kept looking, and I'm telling you, showing up when I don't want to show up, I have this kind of rule that when I get invited somewhere, I go because you don't know where the angels are hiding. You don't know where these small opportunities can reveal themselves. The other thing, okay, coming from Los Angeles, and you live in the New York area, so you understand this. People in LA, there's the daytime LA person, which looks like they just rolled out of bed, right? And then there's the nighttime I'm on person that is polished, and you can kind of size them up based on how they present themselves, right? There's a pecking order. Um, Sacramento does not do that. So you don't know that you're meeting someone that's really powerful. And this has happened. I went to dinner with a bunch of women, business women, really powerful women, amazing women. And there's a woman, it looks like she's a little bit younger than me, and she's getting the drinks for everybody. Hey, can I get you a soda? Can I get you, and I was like, oh, that's nice. They have their admin helping. No,
Little did
no,
you
no.
know.
No. She's a CEO of $100 million company that's on the
Oh
top
gosh.
floor. And you're like, but and
Oops.
that's the thing too. That's the regional thing. That's the networking with women. That you get people who just they go right into service. They don't. There's no that pretentiousness, but then you don't know who you're talking to. So you really have to humble yourself and not make assumptions and show up and be genuinely connecting because that might be that one person that you're like, you're amazing, you know. So that has been happening probably that 2025 has been the year where that's starting to line up and I need to nurture it. I need to intentionally continue to nurture that.
Yes, because connections are so important. They are what will change the trajectory of our business, our career, our the way we feel, the way we show up. They open doors for us. So many people talk about how am I going to get this done? How am I going to work on this project? And I swear I'm constantly preaching, it's not the how, it's the who.
Yeah,
It is the who. There is a person. You are standing, you know, between you and the success you want. It is one person that is just going to unlock that for you.
I love
Yeah.
that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. One person. And that happened for you just recently. You met one person who understood your business, knew the success you were having, and really is now a real advocate for connecting you. And
Oh, unbelievably so. So been a game changer, actually.
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah, been a
yes,
game changer. And just in different areas of what we do, creating connections and then setting us up for more relationship building and making introductions and this is another person that you would meet and doesn't doesn't peacock, doesn't go out of their way to make their position known. They're just a really laid back, cool guy, and so it's been great. Everybody's reaping. My team is reaping the benefits. It's kind of stirring us up. And now I have a team too, where I came to them and I said, "We've got this new go-to-market thing we're doing." And two of them on the call, there was just the three of us, and two of them on the call said, "Okay, what do you need from me?" Okay, thank you.
I believe that women all want to help each other and men too. Like we inherently want to help one another be successful.
I think so. I think when and it goes into that where they talk about like relationships where they're like, don't say to your wife, I'll eat wherever you want to eat. Like just tell them, hey, we're going to eat at this restaurant. It's that mental load.
Yeah.
And so I've just found that when I have and it's the mom group, it's like this trigger that happens when you're a parent and your mind is never shut off to just have someone come in and be able to say like, I could take a small piece of that because you know what it feels like to take how much help a small piece is, and you can manage one small piece. And so it's really cool. It's
Yes.
really cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so funny you say that. I swear, the moment I fell in love with my husband was we had met. It was early on in our relationship. I was traveling for business and I got stuck in an airport and he arranged a car service for me.
Oh,
The car service was waiting for me when I got rerouted, diverted, bad weather, landed in JFK. My car was in White Plains. And he took care of that for me. And I was like, I'm going to marry
I
this
love you.
man. I love him. Nobody had ever done that for me. And so, to that point,
Yeah.
somebody takes some mental load off of you. I was in mid-flight. It really changed the trajectory of my relationship with him. Yes. So somebody listening today is sitting in a corporate job and maybe they want to pivot. I do work with a lot of people who pivot. What would you say to them about your pivot and that trajectory?
So pivoting out of corporate or just pivoting
Whether it's
around?
out of corporate, whether it's into a different industry, but the courage it takes to pivot.
Oh. Okay, I will tell you this. The courage it takes to pivot. Um, I have to tell you a story and then we'll come back to it.
Okay.
So I'm Irish and I've got a Jewish grandmother. She snuck in there somehow. And so I was raised with this very like overbearing Jewish mother love. Okay. And I had my first business trip and I traveled to Washington, D.C. And my mom, everybody knows, my mom knows where I am, but my grandmother doesn't. Why would I tell my grandmother where I'm traveling to? And I'm 25, 26 years old. And it's 10 o'clock at night. My family lives in Los Angeles at this point. I'm in DC and it's 10 o'clock at night and I pick up the phone and it's my grandmother calling to make sure I'm in the hotel. How she got my number, how any of those things happened to this, I mean, she's
Because there were no
passed
cell
since.
phones, right? So she's calling like the hotel.
She's calling the hotel. So she had to know the hotel, which she had to get from my mother.
Yes.
She called at 10 o'clock, which is 7 o'clock her time. So she's
Yes.
calling at 10, which is the right time for a young woman to be in her room, right?
Appropriate. Yes.
Yes. And she's doing all the things and checking in on me. And of course I'm irritated because I'm like, I got this, I got this. Okay. So I spent a career traveling by myself. I travel quite a bit by myself. And I always think back to my grandmother.
Yes.
And here was what I learned in this process. I was okay when I traveled because when I got off the plane, I was there. I was okay because when I got off the plane, I was there. I knew where I needed to go. I would print a map up because it's back before, I'd go to, oh my gosh, I don't remember the MapQuest. And I would print the map up because I realized taxi cab drivers don't always know the city, and I knew to check that, do you guys take credit card? Because sometimes they'd be cash, even though they're picking from the city. People that they shouldn't be picking up at an airport were picking you up at an airport. And I learned, and I was like, I learned what my capabilities were because I was relying on myself. So now I will take that and I will say from a corporate standpoint in the pivoting or parenting and pivoting or life and pivoting, when I sit and I'm quiet and I remind myself, you're going to be okay because you're there. You're there. Bet on yourself. You've got this. What would you do if you needed to know like when you're landing, where you're driving to, how to get w- you're going to go figure that out and you're going to figure it out at the right amount of time. So you bet on yourself and and it's ironic for me to say that because I cancel myself all the time. But when it comes to this piece of myself, when it comes to like putting food on the table and being responsible for like my livelihood, my safety, that I can live in a community where it's safe. Those kind of things, like I do not drop the ball on that. I do not mess around with that kind of stuff. But do I look beautiful every day and all that I can
Yeah, you can let go a little bit. Yes.
secondary treasury. Yeah, that goes down the thing. But the bet on yourself. That is the biggest thing of like you will not fail. You might have a hiccup,
Yeah.
but you're going to pick yourself up and dust yourself off and get back in the game the way you're supposed to.
Mhm.
And I don't know if everybody has that internal voice to know like, no, I can do that, you
Yeah.
know.
What about those moments of self-doubt? What do you do in those moments?
Oh God, those are the worst. You know what I get? I get the imposter syndrome. I'm doing that right now. I've got this go to market I'm working on. I'm super excited about it. I'm writing it up. And last night, um, all of a sudden I was like, this is crap. Nobody cares. Yeah. And I go through that and I'm like, now I just tell myself, oh, you're in that cycle. Like you just step away. You'll go through this cycle and then you'll come back again, or just go ask somebody. But I do that. I I don't think I have imposter syndrome because I'm pretty hard on myself, but I do devalue myself pretty big. Like I will make myself small. It drives me bananas. I can't stand when I do it. So I'll do that and I'll lose like kind of a little bit of belief that I can do it when things get really hard and I don't see any traction. It's easier for me to be like, well, that's just not meant for me.
Mhm.
But that feels like a cop out.
Yeah.
And I don't mean like business wise. I mean like, oh, it's too hard for me to get up and shower every day. Oh, it's just not meant for me, Like I don't think that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you
And
just
I
get
try
your
to
butt
find
in
it.
the shower.
Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, so you don't want to get up and shower? Shower before you go to bed.
Yes.
Like then I just start like, okay, what are the barriers? But yeah, I can I can be kind of hard on myself in that way.
Yeah.
The two sides of myself, even though I try to integrate them a lot, how I handle myself in business and how I treat myself in my personal life are not the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
That sucks. That I'll figure that one. I'll be 70 when I figure it out, but I will figure it out.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But it certainly works for you in your business life. And the pivot worked well.
The pivot worked well. The pivot worked well. Oh, here was the pivot. It was safe. So here's the thing. Um, and I think somewhere we had talked about like, okay, here's the skinny. So I get laid off.
Yeah.
And I remember I'm working for the board of directors.
Yeah.
And so they called me up. The person I was working with, my point person, called me up, and he said, "Jen, just make it," because I was dotted line to them. So I was basically a manager without direct reports. So that's an easy
Yeah.
data search at HRIS, and I'm out.
X.
Yeah, that's an easy one. And he said, "Make a job description, and we'll bring you over here." Like, because I was doing great work and I enjoyed working with them. And again, I'm not a BSer. And so when you're working at that level, they just want straight shooters. They want someone they want a yes person, but they want someone who's straight with them. And I was like, you know what? I think I gotta go. I'm burned out. I'm tired. I think this is an opportunity for me. And I had nothing. I had nothing. I had a package that was really good. They gave me a really good package. And then I had nothing lined up. I had unemployment lined up. And basically, what happened was I was volunteering, and in the process, this woman said, "I think you do what my husband does," and they put us in contact. And Sacramento region is a lot of state employee,
Yeah.
state contracts. I've never worked government, so I'm not attractive. People don't only want people who know government. I didn't know government. I was getting job offers, but I'd have to be in the office and travel. So I was like, "What's the point? Like, what's the point?" I didn't want to do that. So my husband was like, "Look, here's the deal. If you can, I got a job working 8 hours a week on a contract with the state as a sub under a big firm." And he's like, "If you can beat unemployment, why not?" And so I stumbled into it. So my pivot wasn't really on purpose, but my pivot wasn't based on, so, we kind of restructured what success looked like. So it wasn't replacing my income, it was beating unemployment.
But you knew to say no. You knew to say, like, this chapter's closing at
Yeah.
corporate. I'm burnt out. I'm tired. I know this isn't it. I don't know what it is yet, but I'm willing to take a chance.
100%.
Yes.
100%. And that was, I think, my physical body responding to, like, I got laid off was really hard because it's a rejection, right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
just so devastating.
Yes.
And then when I looked at what I really did is I also looked at what the package was they gave me. And I was like, what, this is a nice package. And I
Yeah.
have unemployment and this will carry me. And it was kind of like, again, bet on yourself. And I stuck my toe into the government. And I will say, from that contract to today, I think we're at 36 contracts we've signed
With
with the
the,
state.
yeah.
And this is somebody who had no state experience. And now I'm like, I have so much respect for state organizations and agencies and how they work and understanding the risk mitigation that they go through. So I'm like, oh, it's a completely different world. I love government. Now I get nervous when I have to do corporate conversations because I can't remember what's a timeline in the corporate world, 30 days? So
And
I forget.
all it took was one person
Yeah.
opened a door for you to
And
something
I
you
will
had
tell you,
no experience in.
no, and it wasn't somebody that I would say knew me like you know me. It was a woman. I was volunteering to do there's a leadership conference summit that happens every year in the Christian world. And I was volunteering to do marketing. And one thing I had been told years ago was if you're ever laid off, volunteer time. It keeps you sharp, but you meet people. It also makes you very interesting. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like
Yeah.
I, I've been laid off a handful of times, but I was laid off once, and I worked in a homeless shelter school, a school for kids, and a homeless shelter. So like you just volunteer, and that's how I had met her. And by way of, I mean, what an opportunity.
And
Yeah.
here you are today.
Yeah, it worked.
Yeah.
Now I get to share it. I cracked the nut and now I get to share it with the other people on my team. So it's
Wow.
cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, last week when we talked, I told you it's time to add a comma to your goals. So here we go. Time to buckle up. So,
Right.
all right, I've got a couple of questions for you.
Okay.
What do you want your leadership legacy to be in one sentence?
Oh, one sentence, eh?
Yeah.
Um,
We tie it back
how I
to how
make
we started. We talked about stewards, work, worship, service, the definition of AVO. I mean, I think it's all connected.
it's all connected. It's how I make people feel is
Yeah.
a big thing for me, and seeing people is
Yes.
really important. That I see people,
Mhm.
or just honor who they are is really important.
Yeah.
Um, I think from a client standpoint, so it's like leadership isn't just like the people on my team, but it's also how I show up for my clients.
Of course.
And we show up in ways, and some of the feedback I've gotten from the new, we have some team members who just joined within the past couple months. They were like, "Wow, they really like you over there." Like I don't, because again, I'm very confident in my knowledge set when it comes to this, that I can be humble. We call it humble confidence, that we can, if I don't have to prove myself, it's very easy to joke and laugh and make it a fun meeting, you know. So that's what I hope that turns into. And that I nudged the top a little bit in a way that maybe I didn't belong here, but I made it happen. That's pretty cool too. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
good. So good. All right, we're going to do a few rapid fire questions and we're going to wrap it
All
up.
right.
Okay,
All right.
ready? All right, here we go. Number
Okay.
one piece of leadership advice you wished you'd learned earlier.
One piece of um I have to go back to balance, that you can't pour from an empty vessel. You've got to figure out that structure, that personal life structure, so that you can pour into the business, or you're on fumes. I wish I'd learned that.
So true. It's so
Yeah.
true. Yeah. Okay, a daily habit or practice that keeps you grounded.
Grounded. Well, I have a teenage daughter, so that's very grounding. They're very grounding. Um, it's the things that we have in our day-to-day life are very grounding. So I can't say more than that. I would have to say, really, it is my family, my husband and my daughter. They see me as a person who gets lost when I get in the car. They see me as this. It's very grounding to be so vulnerable that you are a little dingy,
Yeah.
and I don't hide it, and that keeps me very grounded, to a point where it's actually entertaining.
Yes,
So
I love that. I love that.
yeah.
Some good humility in that.
Yes.
Okay, the most joyful moment in your career so far.
Joyful moment in my career.
Mhm.
Um. Ah. I don't know. I think I have a handful. Joy is really hard for me. I just want you to know, because it's contentment and peace,
Well-being.
and
Yep.
then joy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Um, so I would say a fun thing that happened is I had reached out to a client a few years ago and had said, "Hey, I need a referral for something." And he said, "Oh, hey, where's all that stuff that you did a couple years ago with us?" And so I said, "Oh, no big deal. I'll come see this during quarantine. I'll have it on a thumb drive. Let me walk you through it." And then it was, "Can you come back?" And so um, we did. We worked with them to get under contract, and we stayed with them for about 2 more years.
There's so
That
much
was
joy in
cool.
that. There's so much joy in that,
It's pretty cool
to be
when your stuff has a
valued.
shelf life.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, to be
Yeah,
valued like that. Yes, so good.
that was cool.
What's one thing people often misunderstand about success?
Oh my gosh. I have a great example on this one, because I had to sit with this one all weekend long.
Okay.
Yeah. I think people think success is when you look on an Instagram feed and someone's very calm, they're at the beach and they're relaxing, that is success.
Mm.
That's retirement. That's not success. If you're looking at it from a success, from what happens when you own your own business, is you might look like that on the outside, but on the inside, you're doing numbers, you're strategizing, you don't turn off when you own your own business. And so there was an analogy about harvest when it's harvest season. And that's when you have a lot of great things that are happening in your life. But if you don't understand harvest, you think that's the easy time. And harvest is when you double down and everybody works. And I would say that the understanding of success was like, oh, it gets easier, and it doesn't get easier. You still have the same challenges because you're always challenging yourself. But now is that my favorite definition of success? No, because I look at success as the fact that, my family and things that we get to do and privilege that we've created for ourselves that I've created or my husband's created. So we have that we count as success.
Yeah,
I have a kid who likes hanging out with us. I have a kid who gets mad if we're not hanging out with her. That's success to me.
that is
Um,
success.
but the reality is that success is not, you don't start a business and then go on vacation. Like when you start a business, it is a grind. That is the reality that even if it looks like you're not working, you probably are. And
You
that's the
probably are.
reality of what
Yeah. If
success.
somebody's selling you a business where you only work 10 hours a week and you're going to be a multimillionaire, it's probably not true.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. Or it's
Yeah.
probably illegal. So, oh
Yeah.
my gosh. All right, Jen, where can people find out about AVO Solutions in case they need your brilliant services?
Oh, okay. So I'd love to share. So we are at avoinc.com, avoinc.com. Um, and we'd love to see and hear from anybody who hears about us through you.
Yes.
Just love to share the stuff that we're doing.
And you also do a really great job with your LinkedIn feed. So, what's your LinkedIn handle?
Oh, yes. So on social, I am JD Names.
Yeah.
So just go to, because I'm a one N Jennifer, so sometimes it's hard to find me. So I'm a one N Jen.
One
So
and
one N
Jen.
Jennifer and my last name married into it. He's
Yes.
worth it, but it's a crazy name. So Jenifer Namestka. And please follow my feed because I made sure that um, my core values shine through
Yes.
in that feed.
Yes.
So please.
She supports a lot of great causes and really does an amazing job in her LinkedIn feed. So, yes.
Thank you.
Okay. What a pleasure to have you on today. Thank you so much. And I will see you soon.
All right.
All
Thank
right.
you. Have a
Be
great
well.
one.
Okay.
Bye.